Okay guys, first of all, this morning I'm going to be talking about this word right here, right? Motivation. And scientifically, whether it actually exists. So, let me ask you, Richard, what do you perceive motivation to be?
Motivation, me personally, would be mental energy, something that you need within yourself to better yourself and to drive forward to succeed and fulfill your visions.
Okay. Anybody else? Tim? Tim, the guy who's always highly motivated.
Well, just the ability to push yourself
Yeah.
to reach your goals.
Yep. Sure. Okay. Here's something that's going to shock you, right? Motivation, for want of a word, doesn't actually exist. I'll repeat that. Motivation doesn't actually exist. So let's say we take the dictionary definition, which is the state or condition of being motivated or having strong reason to act or accomplish something, right? Well, guess what? It doesn't exist. Scientifically, it doesn't. I'm talking from a scientific point of view. There is no such thing as motivation, right? And let's look at the reason why. Right, so we've got a propulsion system here that you've both all seen before. So this is pain. This is pleasure. Right? The reason why motivation does not exist, right? Because the human brain is conditioned in a way to always be pulled toward pleasure, comfort, right? So you're probably thinking, oh yeah, that isn't quite true, Trevor. You know what I mean? Sometimes, some mornings I feel really motivated. I get up early, I go for runs, swims, I read, I come in, I make double the amount of calls some days like you do, Simon, right? So how can that be true? Because what's happened that day is something completely different, right? And this is what's happened. Because motivation, there is no such thing as motivation. Get rid of it. You replace it with this word. So the human brain, right, is always seeking comfort, to go toward comfort. Like the human brain itself is a very complex organism. The human brain doesn't actually really want to get up at 4:30 in the morning. It doesn't want to go on a fucking hideous run and punish yourself with exercise. You don't want to, like the human brain doesn't really want you to come into work and make 60 cold calls in a day to strangers. All right, so it's always trying to seek toward pleasure because it's trying to get away from pain. This is what happens in life, right? You've got a propulsion system, pain to pleasure. All right, so when those days that you're really on, and we all go through phases, we all know that, right? What's happening those days is that you have disciplined yourself to act, to push more this way, right? To go through discomfort, because in the long term, you're going to get real pleasure, right? Because what's happening is the human brain's always seeking comfort. So it's like, oh yeah, I'll make 30 calls today instead of 60. I'll get up at 6:30 a.m. instead of 5 a.m. because it's more comfortable for you, right? I'll spend, 4 hours on social media today instead of 2 hours or 1 hour, right? Because it's comforting for the brain, right? So when you're really on and you're having a great day, you're thinking that you're motivated, that isn't happening at all. What it is that you're just completely and utterly disciplined. So what's happening is that you need to discipline yourself every single day, so you get into a system where your mind is only focused on one thing, right? So let's make a bit of room, which is the close, right? So how do I know who's disciplined and who's not? We all know the phrase of being in the zone. What that really means is simply this, right? If you're in the zone, you are not distracted. Now, you know, no disrespect to the new guys because they've just started, but there's really only 2 people in this room who just don't get distracted, because I see them and they lock in each day. And even when I try and talk to them, it's hard for me to get their attention. Yes, I get it, but it's hard. And we know that's Richie and we know that's Phil. Doesn't matter what weekend they've had, doesn't matter what happened last night, personal life. Sure, yeah, but once they lock in, they lock in. They're not distracted. They're not sitting on social media fucking all day, not texting girls, not doing this, all right? They're in the zone. So that's how I know that they're disciplined, they're locked in, and they're not distracted, because their mind is focused on the close, the promised land, right? Everything else is the noise in between. We all like to have banter in here and chat with mates, go on Facebook more often, text girls, whatever, right? But let me tell you, none of those things are going to make you any money. Right? You go on Facebook an extra hour a day, yeah, it's heading you, it's giving you a bit of pleasure, it's heading you toward a bit of comfort, right? But hey, like when you're in here, you need to discipline yourself. This is the word, not motivate. Discipline yourself. Set yourself little targets. Play a game with yourself. Make little targets for like a game plan, a battle plan for each day. Get in the zone. Get in the computer. Check your emails. Get on the phone and go for it. Just don't let yourself get distracted. Too many distractions, especially here. So scientifically, as I was saying, there's actually no such thing as motivation. It's all about having the discipline. So, who's with me? Who wants to get more disciplined, to do those things? Last week I saw, you know, mate, there was a couple of days there, you were just fucking in the zone, man. In it. Completely. You know, you stay that level, you're going to go toward that level. So there you go. Always the human brain is seeking to go away from pain and seek pleasure. What you got to do in this game is go and fight that urge, go toward pain, because if you go through a little bit of pain and discipline yourself and keep fighting that, at the other end is the real pleasure. Like the pleasure isn't, you know, like chatting to girls, going on Facebook, you know, going for an extra cigarette break, taking longer lunches. No. That's just comfort. You got me? The real pleasure is the other side. When you start getting, you know, numbers like that, like those guys, in the zone. No distractions. Right. So, Let's pump up. Let's have a great week. It is the last week of the month. We're going to be making plenty of calls this week. Lots of closing calls. We'll film some of those too. I believe I can ring some people for you, anyone else. Let's talk about it. Let's do up a battle plan. So great. Yeah, let's get into it. Who's with me?
Let's get disciplined.
Right, disciplined up. Cool, man.